Morrison. Next challengers step up tonight as the 1-1 Loyalist Lancers look to unseat the Lords from the top of the OCAA. I'm your man on the call tonight, Sean McLeod, joined by my broadcast colleague Ryan Vieira, and your starting lineups tonight for the Loyalist Lancers: Jessica Maliski, Vanessa Wilton, Sienna Miller, Kate Maxwell, and Grace Callahan. On the other side for the Lords, Brianna Morrison, Shay Littman, Emily Glendening, Sarah Dennis, and Onika Leverage. Ryan, a big homestand coming here for the Lords as they're going to be at home throughout almost the entirety of November. How big is this stretch for them?
It's a massive stretch, Sean. To be back home for a couple weeks here, starting off against a decent team here in Loyalist, it'll be big for them. Got to get off on the right foot here, though.
Littman gets out and isn't able to get the first layup of the game, but shot goes back up off of the rebound, and no good. Drives in, and a shot off glass, just a bit too strong from Sienna Miller. Morrison initiate the offense for the Lord. Littman thought about a three and will pull it back. Glendening, little dump pass. In and around the net as Zahara Gallimore will pick up the first bucket of the game for the Lords. Driving baseline into Morrison, who pokes it loose. Callahan unable to get anything out of it. Morrison to Glendening for three, and she was on fire from three in the last game. Good to see her continue that 5-0 run to start for the Lords.
That's the way you want to start a homestand there, Sean.
In big moments, Morrison getting in and up in the face of Wilton. Callahan drives on Glendening, and Glendening with some great defense. Glendening makes an extra pass. Littman will dial it up from three, and it's good. Making an 8-0 run. And that's about as quick as a timeout as you're going to see. Caleb Hugh not happy with that. 8-0 run, two wide open three-pointers. That's a statement from the Lords.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're a Loyalist, you cannot have those defensive breakdowns this early on in the game against a good three-point shooting team like the Lords have been. And you got to think that the Loyalist Lancers will be looking to pick up on that defensive structure, not leaving anybody open, and tighten up defensively.
And so Gallimore with 2 points, and the two three-pointers coming from Glendening and Littman. Glendening hitting the first one and assisting on the second one, making the extra pass into the corner. So some good offensive movement right now from the Lords, and they're very comfortable right now.
And if you want to make a statement, you got to keep this up. Keep finding the open shot.
So we'll see what kind of changes Loyalist comes out with. So come out with roughly the same lineup. Can't expect to see too much in the way of changes 2 minutes into the game, but I'm sure there's some instructions being restated. Stick with the shooters, definitely being one of them.
You're right though, Sean. Surely some adjustments have to be made.
Glendening on defense. Ball comes right back out to the perimeter. Maliksi passes out to Miller. No good. Morrison. And a hopeful pass gets picked off. The Loyalists just unable to peel the lid off the bucket as Vanessa Wilton tries her dangest.
That was a bit of a better end-to-end rush there for the Loyalist Lancers. They got a good pickoff in the defensive zone, and they got a good chance offensively. Let's see if they can capitalize as they... Oh, Put the ball back in bounds.
Tipped out of bounds by Leverage. And one notable thing for the Lords tonight is the absence of Kendra Oliver, who's been solid off of the bench through the first 3 games, and as fans may remember from the 2019-20 season, was a huge contributor to the Lords offense.
12 points off the bench last game. The Lords will be missing a key contributor off the bench there.
And the Lords last year, no stranger to working with short benches. Brianna Morrison, no stranger to playing 40 minutes a game if needed. Ball comes into the paint, gets poked loose by Gallimore, and 2 points for Loyalist as Miller picks them up. Trap comes early, and a 3-point shooter wide open once again is Littman.
3 for 3 of the Lords from 3-point range. Just keep getting the ball to the outside. That's been key so far.
Malik C. Shot wasn't even close. Tries to go the other way to Littman. Malik C's there for the defense, and Littman puts up a wild shot, no good. It'll be going the other way for the Loyalists. Callahan. Attempt at a dribble handoff, and it didn't look like Morrison got too much of it. That'll be Lord's ball. Substitution coming for Loyalist, as we'll see Knights come in. And the substitution for the Lords as we see Littman go off. And we'll see Thompson come in.
6 points so far for Shea Littman, both from 3-point land.
Morrison. Attracting a lot of defensive attention, as she should. First in the OCAA in scoring. Glendening once again for 3. This time it's short. Ball back out to Glendening. Pulls in for a mid-range jumper. Leverage with the rebound, and she'll head to the line.
Good follow-up by Leverage. Shot clock expired, but she stayed right on it to gain that extra 14 seconds on the shot clock, and now draws a foul. She's heading to the free throw line.
Monin will come in for the Lords. Leverage makes it a 10-point lead for the Lords. 12-2. 6 minutes left here in the first, and they have been dominant early. This is the second, but the rebound will come out to who else? Brianna Morrison. Ball kicked out to Glendening.
4 3-pointers so far for the Lords.
The Lords are on fire from 3. It's a 13-point lead, 15-2. Maliksi passes it off. Knights drives baseline, and a nice little floater. It's 4 points for Loyalist. Imanen. Leverage with the rebound, and congestion down low. That will be Lancer's ball.
Lords have done a good job so far following up their shots right there in the paint. A couple of opportunities there off of some rebounds.
Couple substitutions readying up for the Lancers when they get a chance. Morrison pressure out to the line. Maliksi for 3. It's too long, right into the hands of Glendening. Imanen brings it up over half and pounding the rock. So they'll stay with the Lords.
Now we'll see those substitutions for Loyalist.
So it'll be Givens coming in. And we'll also see Chelsea Taylor, who was the leading scorer in the last game for the Lancers with 11 points. Leverage off glass, and rebound comes out to Knights. Knights. Spin move in the paint, shot gets put up. That looks good. Something to build there for Loyalist, who struggled to find things going offensively. Had a couple nice looks in the paint on the past few possessions. Glendening from the mid-range.
Only a two-pointer, but Glendening showing early that she can get shots off, get quality shots off from far out.
Glendening, an indisposing player. We can't really do without her on this Lords team. A lot of the attention is going to go to Morrison as Taylor goes into the paint. But Glendening just finds her shots, doesn't really force bad shots either. Come on in. Goes the entire way and unable to get it. Maliksi. Gets tied up by Glendening and poked away by Anika Leverage. Demanen gets contact with Taylor. So we'll see Lippman come back in, as well as Zahar Gallimore.
Morrison and Leverage head off. They've each had a first good few 7 minutes or so here.
Glendening. That's a well-run play. Lords just aren't able to find anything on the back end of it. Into the paint, and that's Deja Thompson picking up her first bucket of the game. Maliksi kicks it out, and a three-point shot, no good. So we'll see Mayo come in for the Lords. And the Lords really fully utilizing their rotation here tonight. 19-6, just under 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Lippman into the paint for Gallimore, and it's good.
Lords have really found their way so far to squeeze through those tight spaces in the paint. Still able to get those shots in tight.
Wilton spin moves, drives baseline, up and good. Bit of a wild pass, but it's poked away. It was Givens. Reached the pass, and a pretty obvious one at that. So a quadrant of substitutions coming in for the Lancers when they get a chance. Not often you see that.
No, not at all.
Into the paint, and Thompson picks up a whack, and looked like it was around the eye area, but she'll pick up the foul.
And now we'll get to see 4 different changes here for Loyalist.
Talo bringing it up over the half for the Lancers. So to Knights. Callahan brings it in, and a mid-range shot, no good. But Miller gets in there, and it'll be a chance at a three-point opportunity.
That's been the strength so far of the Loyalist Lancers so far. Their long-range shooting has been great, but as long as they can keep getting these short-range opportunities in the paint, just like they do here with Miller, then they can have a shot in getting back in this game.
It's not too far out of reach either. For how it felt through the first 5 minutes of this game, it is only a 10-point deficit for the Lancers.
And of course, it's still only the first quarter, so still plenty of time left.
Long ways to go. Thompson drives into the paint, and a push shot off glass. It'll be rebounded by Givens. Miller. Callahan, and that is way too easy as Kate Maxwell is wide open underneath the bucket.
A little bit of a breakdown defensively, and a timeout's going to be called here.
I think it's a good timeout, as we were just talking about. It's been a bit of a struggle over the past few minutes from the Lords, who started out hot and shooting hot from deep.
Big time.
Over the last few minutes, the Lancers have clawed their way back in there. Sienna Miller with 5 points, Mona Knights with 4, Vanessa Wiltons with 2, and Kate Maxwell with 2. On the other side of things, Glendening, who's been on the bench for the past few minutes, getting the rest with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and near perfect shooting from deep, 2 of 3. Shea Littman also perfect from deep, 2 of 2 with 6 points.
As you mentioned, Sean, it's a good time out here for Sherlyn Chance. Just regroup your team here. It's been a hot start, but last little bit here, the Lancers have been starting to claw back in a little bit with some short-range opportunities in the paint, drawing some fouls, and just see how things go from here. Just we saw that timeout the Lancers took, got them back in it a little bit, so we'll see how this affects the Lords here down the stretch and late in the first quarter.
So no changes on either side. And the Lords running a fairly small lineup by their standards. And the big lineups have really been the hallmark of their season so far. But 4 guards. Littman. Mayo will pass it back. Thompson turns it over.
Good coverage, though, on defense. They all converged on Thompson there, forcing her to make a off-balance pass.
Miller, a nice dump-off pass, but it's an air ball. Imanen turns it over. And ball poked away by Thompson, and Gallimore will recover it. The lone big on the floor. Imanen into the paint. No good. 30 seconds left. So shot clock still on. About a 10-second difference. Pass out to Knights. She's into the paint, and they're calling a blocking foul. Looks like Thompson was there in time, but referees get a better look at it than I do. Thompson also may have had her foot in the restricted area, which was obstructed in our view line there.
A little bit obstructed, but nevertheless.
So we'll see Knights make the first of 2. Wild pass back in. I mean, I applaud the effort, Kate Maxwell. Ball will head out of bounds. 18 seconds left for the Lords. So they'll have the chance to take the final shot of the quarter. Shot clock turned off. Come on in, dribbles it into the paint and turns it over. And it's been a story of the last few minutes for the Lords. Givens out to Miller, who puts up a wild shot off glass, no good. So the Lords at the end of 1, up 21-14 behind 8 points from Emily Glendening and 6 points from Shea Littman, but have struggled throughout the second half of this quarter.
Yeah, mostly ever since Glendening and Morrison left the floor. It was a hot start for the Lords, but after those two left the floor and a little bit of a rest, that gave the Lancers a chance to get back in it a little bit. Getting some good defensive stops and then getting some good opportunities offensively in the paint. But if you're the Lords, you got to find a way to adjust to this.
Yeah, and like we said, they are lacking a bit on size without Kendra Oliver available, and we don't know the full extent of the injury there, but clearly unable to go. But she looks fairly fine out there, so hopefully nothing too bad. But on the Lancer side of things, Sienna Miller with 5 points and Knight with 5 points as well. well, and they've really been a handful in the paint. This is the first of a string of home games. It'll be 3 in a row. Well, 4 if you count back to the George Brown Huskies. And after this, the Seneca Sting coming up, Algonquin Wolves. Shortly after that as well, on November 25th, will end the Homestead. December 2nd, if you can believe that, is the next road game for the Lords.
Yeah. Overall, though, home sweet home.
Yeah.
Next couple weeks, the Lords will have a chance to settle in and welcome in some quality opponents.
I mean, in January, they start out, it's going to be the inverse, right? 4 in a row. And it'll be most of January that they're on the road. It'll be January 21st will be the first home game of the new year.
Well, I can tell you, it'll be tough traveling in the snow in January. I can tell you that, Sean.
The snow projected tomorrow. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
After all this weather that we've had, and now it's finally wintertime, I suppose.
It's back, baby.
Yeah. Littman unable to control the pass.
Well, we do see Emily Glendenning and Brianna Morrison get back out there in a 7-point game now.
Miller and a nice post move, but unable to get the finish. Thompson has options, finds Glendenning with a nice pass. Off glass and good. So officially a 3-level scorer now. 1 in the paint, 1 in the mid-range, and a 3-pointer to go with it.
Couple 3-pointers to go with it.
Yeah.
Off to a good start so far as Emily Glendenning.
Maliksi puts up a tough shot, and Littman will get called for the foul. And it'll be a 23-15 lead for the Lords as Morrison brings it up. And interesting to note, Morrison, the leading scorer through the OCAA, through the Lords' first 3 games, held scoreless in the first quarter. So also contributing to the struggles there for the Lords.
Well, Loyalists, they've found their ways to get on Morrison quickly. They've surely seen the scouting report and found ways to have to get the ball off of her, and she's mostly been the passer tonight so far for the Lords.
Leverage tries to jump the pass. Miller cuts in, and some great defense from Thompson. She'll get the ball back. A sidestep, no good, and almost feel like the Lords are just rushing things a bit on offense right now.
Oh, certainly. A couple of rush passes and some plays that they've been unable to retrieve the ball back against 3 or 4 Loyalist defenders in the paint.
Wilton drives on Morrison, no good. Thompson has to break a couple presses, gets it over half. Littman wide open in the corner. It's a travel.
You see what I mean about that Lancer defense there, Sean? 3 or 4 of them converged on Thompson, forcing the turnover.
They're really collapsing in the paint, and on the far side of that play, like I said, Littman wide open for 3. And the Lords are headstrong getting into the paint right now, but Lancers are collapsing it. And it's just not an option at the moment. In and out, Glendenning with the rebound.
Now, if you're Durham, you got to settle things back down here. Start doing what you were doing at the start of the game.
Pass goes over the head of Leverage. Morrison just does not have it tonight. But Wilton, no good. Littman. Morrison. No good. But a rebound. Gallimore unable to put it back. There's 2 points as Kate Maxwell makes it a 23-17 lead for the Lords, and the lead is shrinking by the moment. Gallimore keeps possession. She's instantly trapped. Into the paint, into two bodies, and Morrison dribbles it out of bounds.
I can see Charlene Chance not too happy with what he's seen in the past couple of minutes, especially in this second quarter.
So Rachel Gibbons will come back on, as well as Chelsea Taylor. So Morrison looking for her first points of the night. Apparently she was fouled as she headed out of bounds.
Well, for the Lords, you need Morrison to get going at this point in the game.
She's definitely the engine for this offense. You can get some production out of Glendinning. You can get some production out of Littman. But you got to expect throughout the first 3 games, Morrison has been the driver, 25 points a game. And certainly she is a player that's capable of getting 25 points in a half as the Lords come out in a 2-3 zone. Maliksi tries to break the zone with a 3. No good. Leverage battling for the rebound. Comes away with it after a few players hit the deck. Morrison gets her pocket stripped. It's Callahan up to Taylor. And it's a 5-point lead for the Lords. And things are just out of control for them at the moment.
Lancers will get the ball back here as well as the Lords turn it over. We're going to have a timeout called here.
And another timeout for the Lords. And what I wouldn't give to be a fly on the wall in this timeout and hear what's being said, because there's so many things that are going wrong for the Lords tonight. Still in the lead. It's a 5-point lead, but mostly down to the first 2 minutes of the game where they were hitting every 3 possible. So I would love to hear the adjustments and what's being said in there.
Yeah, especially the start of this game, Sean. It's been really dominant for the Lords. It was really dominant. 8-0 start. Timeout was called in the first 2 minutes by Loyalist. But lately things just haven't been sinking well. Their rushing passes, defensive structure hasn't looked strong lately. The Lancers are getting a lot of second chance opportunities leading to those points. But if you keep them to the outside, the Lancers, they're not a really good far out shooting team from out high. That's got to be key for the defense. And for offense, just take your time with it. Take your time, find your targets out high, because out high is your shooting game right now. When Glendinning has 2 3-pointers, Littman has 2 3-pointers. So for the Lords, you got to go back to phase 1 like you did in the first quarter.
Absolutely, and Loyalist, as we've stated a few times, has really shrunk the floor when players attempt to make drives. That's leaving players open. We've seen Littman, we've seen Glendinning out there. Passes just haven't been there for them as they get tied up as soon as they enter into the paint. So definitely adjustment needed to be made there by the Lords. And I'll have to call that a pick and roll, but a beautiful cut to the basket. Vanessa Wilton, a beautiful pass. Littman for 3, in and out. Leverage, they're battling for it, but it'll be off her foot and out of bounds. Lancer ball. 24-21, 5:38 left in the half. And the Lancers have been slowly clawing their way back into this game. Taylor, Maliksi. Pass gets deflected by Thompson. Wilton will keep it in bounds, and Taylor drags her foot.
Lords get the benefit of the offensive foul.
Himonen finds Glendening, cuts into Himonen, and once again, 2 players in the paint as Himonen almost instantly runs into Rachel Givens. The ball will stay with the Lords.
Only 3 points so far for Durham in this second quarter.
Leverage.
There you go.
Make it 5 as Leverage finds Glendening down low.
There you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Keep that ball moving quickly. Lancers won't be able to catch up to it if ball's moving that quick.
Morrison tips the ball out of bounds. So it stays with the Lancers in front of their bench. Wilton out to Taylor. Maliksi dials up a 3, and it's good. A 2-point game, 26-24.
First 3-pointer made of the night for the Lancers right there.
Glendening passes it around to Himonen. Glendening dials up a 3, then a response in and out, and you can hear the gas of the crowd here at Durham.
That's a tough break. In and out.
The ball will stick with the Lancers. We'll see Himonen come out for the Lords and Shea Littman come in.
Helps to pick there from Morrison.
Leverage keeps it alive. Littman. And it's a travel for a Morrison, and it's just not her night.
1 point thus far was a free throw.
So we're going to see 3 substitutions come on, including Nicole Talo, Mana Knights, and we'll also see Rachel Givens come on. Miller finds Knights. Taylor for 3, no good. Morrison with the rebound, trying to find Glendening, who is tied up on the baseline.
Emily Glendening shaken up a little bit, helped back up to her feet.
Gallimore back in for the Lords. So into Givens. Miller puts up the floater, looking to tie the game up. No good. Thompson comes away with it. Morrison passes it out. Littman gets hit on the wrist, but no call. Knights moves it up. Talo gets it poked away, but Knights is there for it. Taylor. Knights thinks about driving in. Flips the floor. Miller in and out, and that would have tied the game up. Speaking of being tied up, the ball is tied up, but jump ball will head towards the Lords. Once again, you can start to hear the crowd here in Oshawa starting to get into the game.
A little bit of frustration, a little bit of emotions being shown.
I've always been a fan of the crowd here in Oshawa. I think I've said it a few times on broadcast, but I feel like it's underrated in the OCAA.
Yeah, and it definitely brings a lot more momentum to the game as well when they're in the game.
Littman had a bit of space there. Opts not to shoot it. Glendening Drives, but gets it poked away and stolen by Givens. Knights. Taylor finds some space in the mid-range. No good. And it's all tied up as Rachel Givens makes an easy shot in the paint. 26-26 in 2 minutes and some change remaining. Thompson into the paint, and there's a wall on defense for the Lancers right now. Morrison mid-range, in and out. And Givens on top of the ball. The ball is tied up.
Boy, it's been a complete 180 tonight for Brianna Morrison, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like nothing she tries is going right now. Free throws aren't going.
No, and for the most part, the worst thing is that it's kind of gone into the rest of her teammates as well. Just 5 points in the second quarter after a hot start the first 5-6 minutes.
Glendening still leading the way with 12 points.
The referees are having a discussion here, I believe, to see where this ball should be.
I prefer the referees get it right, but so I don't mind the slight delay. Making sure the time was right on the clock as well. 1:51 remaining. Thompson gets a little space in the mid-range. Off rim. Givens with the rebound. Knights will bring it up. Miller. Not there. The ball will stay with the Lords as Glendening was pushed. A minute 37. 26-26. Hard to believe, like those first 2 minutes were so automatic for the Lords, and it has really shut down Morrison, and that is a big part of their struggles right now.
Brianna Morrison just unable to get going right now.
Morrison gets the rebound. Thompson. Gallimore throws it away. Picked off by Taylor. Almost a wedgie. But Taylor will head to the line with a chance to take the lead for the Lancers. It'll be the first lead of the game.
Just a roll away there for Taylor from what would have already been the lead. It would have been a 3-point play, but instead she'll go for the line just for the 2.
So Wilton will come back on, as well as Callahan. And we'll also see Kate Maxwell come back on for the Lancers. Maliksi. They're a fan of these big group substitutions, eh?
Really a big fan, and it's been a key factor for them so far in this comeback for the Lancers.
Wilton has Maxwell in the paint. Come out to Maliki. For 3, no good. But the rebound is Kate Maxwell. Tries that wild save again. This time it works out. 30 seconds left. So shot clock still on, and Morrison picks up the bump as she speeds into the lane. So Morrison with 1 point on the night.
Number 8, that's a second on the game. And jersey number 3, Brianna Morrison, shooting 2. Full Loyalist.
And we'll see if this brings Morrison into action. Really an uncharacteristic night for her. 0 of 3 from the field. Make it 2 points for her as the Lords regain a 1 point lead. But even while struggling, Still has 4 rebounds, so contributing in other ways.
In the two-way game as well.
And she makes both of them, so 3 points for Brianna Morrison. Timeout taken by the Lancers as we head into the final 30 seconds of this quarter. What do you think they're drawing up in there, Ryan?
Oh, well, for Loyalists, it hasn't been, nobody's really taken over for them, but it's just been a team game so far for the Lancers. Miller with 5 points, Knights with 5 points. Maliska with 4, Maxwell 4. It's just been a team game here. No real takeovers. Nobody's hit the double digits yet, but they found themselves in this game because of their tight play. They're not really a shooting team. Their offense comes from in the paint, drawing fouls, and they've got a few defensive stops. Since that struggler start in the first quarter, the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if they keep this up, then they got a good shot of winning this game.
As you said, it's been a full team performance from Loyalist. Everybody who has stepped on the floor for Loyalist, except for Nicole Talo, has at least 2 points.
At least 2 points. That's what I mean about that team game. Everybody's getting a fair shot. And so far, Loyalist making the chances count in the paint so far. Durham's got to shut down their opportunities down low.
Wilton hands it off to Miller into the paint and turned over in kind as Morrison. And it's a 3-point shot for Maxwell. 10 seconds left in the game. Maxwell saves it.
Offensive foul, looks like Thompson was knocked down.
Be a defensive foul.
Defensive foul, no. My apologies.
Grace Callahan heads to the line, looking to tie things up with 6 seconds left. Makes the first of 2, so halfway there. Unable to get the second, but going into the lane, Kate Maxwell gets the rebound and a shot short from Morrison. And a disastrous second quarter for the Lords leaves them down by 1. 29-28 Lancers lead with everybody on their team except for one having 2 points in that first half.
15 points to 7 for the Loyalists in that second half. A lot of turnovers we've seen from the Durham Lords. We'll see if that's addressed in the locker room during this halftime. But if you're Loyalists, you're happy with this second quarter after that disastrous start in the first 5 minutes or so. A couple of defensive lapses, but they've adjusted defensively, keeping the Lords to the outside, where they've lost their shooting game a lot. Not a single three-pointer has been made since the first quarter for Durham. So a couple things have to be addressed in that Lords locker room.
Emily Glendenning leading the way for the Lords with 11 points and 4 rebounds as well as 3 assists, so stuffing the stat sheet. Shay Littman with 6 points and 2 assists and a rebound. Both of those three-pointers coming within the first opening minutes of the game. And the player to watch in the second half for me, Brianna Morrison, 3 points, a couple coming late. I think she's getting to the bucket. She just needs to finish them.
Just needs to finish them off and stop forcing shots that are off balance and not quite that open. Just get to the bucket so far and from Morrison and just either draw that foul or find a way to lay those buckets in, and she can get her team back in this game.
And we'll be back here in about 14 minutes. Do not go anywhere. We are back here at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center Durham Gym, and it has been a tale of two quarters so far. The Lords up big in the first minutes of the game, but trail coming into the second half, 29-28. Emily Glendinning leading all scorers, 12 points and 4 rebounds. On the flip side, Kate Maxwell leading Loyalist in scoring with 6 points. And Ryan, what do you think? What do you think the Lords need to do coming out of halftime to flip things around again?
Well, you're right, Sean. It certainly has been a tale of two quarters here. Obviously, a dominant start for the Lords, and they have to go back to what they were doing in Phase 1. And ever since that Loyalist timeout in the first 2 minutes of the game, it's been all Loyalists so far after that first start, after that first time out. So what the Lords have to do, just slow things down, keep things at their pace here, and make good defensive plays like that.
Leverage pokes the ball loose, going the other way. Morrison, who was held to just 3 points in the first half. Gallimore out to Glendinning for 3, and she hits another one. 15 points on the night, shooting 3 of 6, 50% from downtown.
Well, if the Lords want to get back on track, that's certainly one person that you want the ball in her hands. Emily Glendinning, 3 3-point shots made in this game so far.
Malik C dumps it off to Maxwell, and it's a tied up here, 31 apiece.
Broken down defensive coverage, and the Lords can't be having this the rest of the way this late in the game, in this stage.
Glendinning takes a baseline, kicks it in to Leverage, and it's good. 33-31. Miller almost gets the ball popped loose. And Maliksi back to Callahan, puts up a push shot, no good. And a rebound from Lippman. Morrison works the break, gets the contact, and it's a travel.
Second travel we've seen from Morrison so far in this game as she tries to make adjustments to what hasn't been her night. Just 3 points through the first half, all from the free throw line. Got to find a way to get her feel for this game and make some shots for her team.
Maxwell shot short, and the rebound comes to Glendinning, and that seems to be the adjustment for Morrison throughout the second quarter and the first few minutes here of the third, is look for contact. But the Lancers have been so sound in the paint defensively.
Started off shaky, but they've made those adjustments ever since.
And there's an adjustment for you. A 3-point shot from Morrison. 6 points on the night, and all of a sudden she's tied for the second leading scorer for the Lords.
She and the Lords needed that in the most important way possible. If the Lords want a chance to really extend their lead here, then Morrison has to get going with shots like that.
And the reach-in foul as Morrison brings it up over half. So be side out with Lippman inbounding. And Callahan picks up the foul. Gallimore steps through, off glass, and good.
That's what I've been impressed with the Lords so far, is that ability to get into the paint. Haven't really been able to do that since the first quarter. They're taking advantage of a couple of defensive mishaps from the Lancers so far to start this third quarter.
So a 10-2 run from Durham to open up this third quarter. She did exactly what the doctor ordered.
Absolutely. I was about to say, some adjustments had to be made in that halftime. And they're coming through for the Lords so far.
Maliksi with a deep 3. Rebound comes out to Glendinning. It'll get brought up by Morrison. Once again into the paint. I believe that's a charge call.
And it is.
Sure is. And the Lancers have been great about getting to their spot and holding their ground. especially when it comes to getting in front of Morrison. They've really made her life difficult tonight. Miller brings it up. And a wild shot, and whistle called. The Lord's ball. It was Wilton who put up the shot.
Oh, that's number 7, Vanessa Wilton. That's a first of the game.
And Wilton picks up the foul as well. Littman, iffy pass to get it up, but Leverage able to keep control of it with 2 players swiping. Morrison works the pick and roll. Leverage finds some space and puts it off glass. It's a 9-point lead for the Lords.
Good start to this quarter so far for Leverage. Made some strong plays in the paint so far. 4 points.
Maliksi is it back out to Callahan. Morrison tries to jump the ball. It's unable to, but gets the rebound. Littman and Morrison running in transition. And Morrison gets tied up. So stay with the Lords. And it'll be a timeout taken by the Lancers. So coming out of the half, they are down 10 on the quarter, 11-2 run for Durham, and completely flipping the script as they were up 15-17 in the second quarter was Loyalist.
Yeah, this is a terrific start to this third quarter for Durham, and you have to expect Sherlyn Chance made some adjustments, gave the team a little talking to in that halftime, and so far it's paid off for the Lords. So far, their ball movement has been better. They're getting to the paint more. Some big shots being made, particularly from Morrison and Glendening from 3-point range. And if you're the Lancers, you got to find a way to make those adjustments again. Make the Lords do what you want them to do, which is turn the ball back over and get back in that defensive transition that you had throughout the back half of the first quarter and all throughout that second quarter. That's what you want them to do at this point, and I think that's what their head coach is reminding them of right now.
So Glendening, 15 points, officially on double-double watch, 3 rebounds shy of the double-double. And after Glendening, it's 3 players with 6 points for the Lords. Brianna Morrison popping up 6 points, Shea Littman with 6 points, and Gallimore with 6 points as well.
Lords got the team game going themselves in terms of points, spreading them around.
And Gallimore, hopeful shot, no good. Maliksi drills it.
Just a second 3-pointer made in this game for the Lancers. Big shot there to bring it back within 7.
Morrison pops out and off the front of the rim. That'll be a Lancer ball. So Wilton brings it up. Uses the given screen. Once again, and Glendening looks for the steal, and it'll be Knights coming in with 2 points on the back end of the possession. It's a 4-point lead.
Good drive by Knights, taking advantage of the space she had in the paint.
Taylor will pick up the foul.
Foul on Lancers number 6, Chelsea Taylor. That's the second of the game. Taking 2 shots from the Lords, jersey number 20, Zach Gallimore.
Gallimore shooting 2, and we'll also see Thompson looking to come in. Himonen as well. So rebound of Knights. Malik C. A bit of congestion, and it works out for the Lancers as they had two players cutting into the same space.
There's that ball movement I'm talking about. This time it goes the way of the Lancers. They got the Lords defense to move around a little bit, getting that bucket.
Leverage into the paint, and that last play from the Lancers, really interesting looking. They had the two players cutting, and the second player, when they pick up another bucket, second player almost acts as a screener, but it works out.
Exactly, and that's how they get their points. It's in the paint. They've gone back to that after that last time out. Gone on a little run here.
Morrison puts up a shot and good. The foot was on the line, so it's a two-pointer. Morrison up to 8 points on the night. Making a positive impact here in the third. Ball tied up on the ground. And we'll finally see the Lord substitutions come on as we'll see Himonen and Thompson come on, and we'll also see Littman and Glendening come off for the Lords. And Littman and Glendening coming off in that first quarter was the start of a long dry spell for them offensively. So we'll see if they're able to navigate that here. Givens tries to find Knight. It's poked away by Gallimore and recovered by Himonen. Himonen into the paint, and she'll pick up a three-point play opportunity.
What a big drive. Himonen taking it all by herself, so you get the chance for the extra point. It's a nice drive, though, taking advantage of some space. Saw a lane and went for it.
Hannah Himonen making the most of her opportunity here tonight. So it's a 5-point lead once again for Durham. Leverage. Gets the ball out to Thompson. Himonen. Leverage drives off glass and good. 47-40 with 3:20 remaining in the third quarter. Lords lead. And Givens gets the ball poked away. And almost an over and back, and Leverage able to get control of it. Morrison off glass, and all of a sudden Brianna Morrison 10 points on the night.
All started off that great pressure by Leverage, pressuring the ball carrier, getting that ball free from Morrison, driving to the basket.
The Lords line up in man-to-man, and a lot of pressure coming. Chelsea Taylor gets the ball stripped, and it's a travel.
Lords starting to come to life after it looked like they would be struggling once again. A little bit of a drive going by Loyalist. They got something going, but all of a sudden the Lords have found their groove off a couple of big defensive plays, some good drives by Leverage. And Morrison's starting to pick it up again, Sean, as you mentioned, up to 10 points now, 7 in this quarter.
So Morrison will come off, and Littman will come back on for the Lords. Gallimore, wide open, cuts to the basket.
Nice feed from Thompson, too. The rainbow pass.
Callahan, a wild drive, no good. Thompson pulls the ball back out. Littman drives baseline. Himonen for three. Hits rim, no good, and a rebound comes, and that'll be a travel. minutes left in the third quarter. 11-point lead for the Lords. Starting to get some production from Morrison, and defensively starting to look a bit more engaged. Thompson working the fast break, takes it herself, and it's in and out and bounces off the rim. But it'll stay with the Lords.
Swat out of play by Maxwell. So Lords get the ball back.
Littman finds Hamanen, and Hamanen fumbles the pass, gets it back, no contact. Miller. Looked like a clean block, but some contact to the arm for Leverage.
Might have been because Leverage reached over Miller, so maybe they thought it was a little bit dangerous, but nevertheless.
Miller will shoot two and makes the first of. Makes it a 10-point game. 1:21 remaining in the third. And one thing to note is throughout this final minute or so, the Lancers into the bonus with 5 fouls. So any fouls the rest of the way will be automatic free throws for the Lords. Of course, only a minute remaining. That's not going to be too big of a deal for them.
Don't want to give up those points. But another good stop by the defense, though. Lords defenses look way better in this third quarter.
Certainly has. Thompson has a minute left. Gets the rebound where the Lords are starting to carve out a sizable advantage on the glass. 34 rebounds for the Lords, 24 total rebounds for Loyalist, and a pretty big advantage coming defensively. So as we talked about, these are automatic free throws the rest of the way. Leverage shooting two, misses the first. I thought I could smell fried chicken. There's someone right in front of us eating Popeyes. That's so rude.
I was going to say, I've smelled that throughout the course of the second quarter, almost.
I was trying to figure out where that's coming from.
Yeah. Making me hungry.
Yeah, now I want fried chicken. Come on, guys. What are you doing?
Gonna have to make a quick trip after this third quarter's over.
Yeah. Callahan hands it off to Miller, who uses a Maxwell screen. And the pick and roll almost works out perfectly. Maxwell just unable to convert the finish. 26 seconds left. So a 3-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Hamanen will inbound it to Thompson. And a pick and roll with Gallimore. Gets closed down quickly. Hamanen leaves it off of the rim. The ball will come out to Leverage. Thompson, no good. 3 seconds left. Hamanen has to put it up quickly, and the time will expire in the third as the Lords are up 51-42, turning things all the way around here in the third quarter.
23 points in that third quarter for Durham. Offense has certainly gotten going, and the defense only letting up 13. So defense has gotten going, and that's exactly what Sherlin Chance has wanted out of his team. And sure enough, he's got both sides going so far. Both sides of the ball going so far in that third quarter. In the fourth, it's time to keep that momentum going and keep those structures going and close this game out.
Emily Glendinning, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and Brianna Morrison, who struggled mightily throughout that first half, has come on and is now up to 10 points on the night, shooting 3 of 4 from the line, 5 rebounds, and then Gallimore with 8 points and 7 rebounds. So she's on the double-double watch. Leverage is on the double-double watch as well with 7 points and 7 rebounds. So 3 Lords players, if they can grab 3 rebounds, they're there. It's a
pretty
double-double.
special night. Yeah, exactly.
Kate Maxwell leading the scorers for Loyalist, and then it's a host of players with 7 points. Jessica Maliksi, I should say, Sienna Miller, and Mona Knights, all with 7 points, and the latter 2 with 5 rebounds as well. So the game's certainly not out of reach as we head here into the 4th. Durham 51-42. The way this game's gone, it could be anybody's game still.
Could be anybody's game, and that has to be what the Loyalist Lancers have to be thinking about as they huddle up on the bench right now. You saw the way the end of that first quarter, the second quarter completely changed. Had the lead coming into this third, and things have kind of turned around on them again here to start this second half. But you got to think that some more adjustments will be made, and they'll go back to what they tried to do against Durham early on in that second quarter. Let's see if they can make another comeback.
So we'll see Glendenning, Morrison, Leverage, Gallimore, and Thompson starting here in the 4th. A big lineup for them relative tonight. Morrison uses a screen out to Glendenning.
Making it rain down there. 4th three-pointer of the game for Glendenning.
I mean, it's like she's hitting the ocean from the beach with these shots. They're just automatic. It's too easy for her. Morrison brings it over half. Thinks about taking a shot, and it's kicked out of bounds by Wilton. Glendenning inbounds it to Thompson. Puts up a push shot, fading away, no good. Maxwell with the rebound. Miller takes it in through 2 defenders, isn't able to get the finish. And the rebound will come out to Gallimore. 54-42. Under 9 minutes to the finish line. Leverage snakes to the bucket and gets a big 2 points for the Lords.
She's had a good two-way game so far, Leverage. Throughout the 4 quarters she's played in this game. Callahan gets out to Maliksi. He puts up a 3. The shot looked good as it left her hands, but it hits rim and out. A little too strong. It'll lead to the Lords getting the ball back. On the double-double watch for Leverage. 9 points on the night. 8 rebounds, so 1 bucket and 2 rebounds away from a double-double. Leverage out to Morrison for 3. Hits rim. There's one of the rebounds for Leverage. But she loses possession. Wilton. No good. Morrison's pushed out of bounds. The ball will stay with the Lancers. So Durham had the same thought process as I did as Morrison was pushed out of bounds on the back end of the play, thought that they were getting the ball. But it'll be Lancers who get the ball and quickly give it back to the Lords and change.
Finds Glendening, puts it up, why not? Shot off the front of the rim. Thompson finds room, but it'll be a travel. That's the difficulty with this Lancers defense, is they collapse into the paint so quickly. A lot of players have to lift up that pivot foot just to get the shot off, and it's travel. There's no way around it.
Right, and they force 17 turnovers out of that defensive structure.
So Glendening will inbound it for the Lords. With a 14-point lead. Starting to feel a bit more comfortable. Morrison. Mid-range shot off glass, and it is not even close. Thompson pokes it out. Maxwell will inbound it. Maliksi. And it gets poked away.
Good read by Thompson in anticipating that pass.
Maxwell. Over to Callahan. Ball whipped into the paint. Miller turns around, and it's an easy bucket for the Lancers.
Again, quick ball movement leading to those points. Look out.
Gallimore. I'm surprised that's not a foul. She's bringing the ball up to shoot.
No? I would have thought it would have been a blocking foul at the least, but instead the Lords will inbound it.
We'll see Thompson come off. Or sorry, we'll see Gallimore come off. Lippman on. Leverage. Spin move into the paint. And just a bit too strong. Going the other way with it. Wilton. Maliksi for three. So a quick rest as we'll see Gallimore come in and Leverage head off.
Leverage 1 point shy of a double-double. She's got the 10 rebounds already. Crowd not happy.
Yeah, she's keeping an eye on Leverage at the back of the bench there. Appears to be in a bit of discomfort, but
a little stretching I saw going on back there.
Yeah, she's been huge for the Lords tonight. Givens cuts through two defenders, but the finish isn't there. The Lords will take it the other way. Thompson uses a screen from Gallimore. Lippman for three. And it'll be the Lancers' ball. I think Lippman maybe thought for a second about the shot. And as she took that 1 second thought about taking the shot closed down quickly. And had two players in her face in a hurry. So Leverage joins the bench again. Probably a good sign for the Lords there. Miller kicks it out to Taylor, and the ball will work its way around the horn. Maliksi drives in and touches all corners of the rim, but it falls in. Morrison into the paint. Gallimore with a perfect cut.
Great pass. Great anticipation there by Morrison.
12-point lead. Under 5 minutes left here in the final frame of the first game of the night. Malik C. Gibbons puts up a 2-point shot. Morrison. The ball finds its way back into Littman's hands. Thompson. Back out to Morrison, who freezes a defender off glass. That's her 12th point of the night.
That's what we've been expecting to see out of Morrison. That anticipation, seeing that opening and taking it all the way to the basket.
And that's also what we expect to see from her, tipping the ball loose. Unable to gain control of it. Maliksi with a mid-range J, no good. See Coach Chance, or you could hear Coach Chance there. He's telling his players run the play, slow things down a little bit. Morrison, mid-range, Jimmy, no good. Ball finds its way back to Gallimore. He picks up a couple rebounds. And there's our first double-double of the night as Gallimore, 10 points and 10 rebounds.
There you go. Looks like we're going to get Leverage back in, and she'll get the chance for a double-double as well.
Leverage comes back in, and Hamanen comes back in as well.
First shot made.
Makes both. Zara Gallimore picking up the first double-double of the night. A couple more still on the table for the Lords. Maliksi, a nice pass. Miller cuts in, no good. Gallimore picks up another rebound. That'll be her 13th of the night. Thompson cuts in. And you can see a little frustration starting to creep in for Loyalists now. That was a shot that would have been shut down in a hurry earlier in the game. Anika Leverage pokes the ball away from Knights, but be off her fingertips and staying with the Lancers. Taylor comes off. Callahan comes in. Timeout taken by the Durham Lords. So an interesting timeout there as they're up big, 64-46, and we've discussed it a few times here on the show, but this is the second game of an extended homestand here at home. The next game coming up will be on Tuesday, November 15th against the Seneca Sting. Always a tough matchup, and then closing out the month after that is the Algonquin Wolves on November 25th. So picking up another win here would see Durham at 4-0 and atop the division.
It would be a shaky win, but you know what? The Lords, give them credit. They've found a way to come back strong here in the second half after a shaky first half, and almost everything that went wrong for them in the second quarter has gone right for them in the third and fourth so far. As we close things out here in the final 2 minutes or so.
So in the OCAA East right now, 2 undefeated teams remain. The Durham Lords potentially going 4-0 here tonight, looking like they're going to get there. And the Algonquin Wolves, who we mentioned is coming up here at the end of the month.
That'll be
3-0 as well.
That'll be an interesting game.
Then on the western side of things, Humber, always a tough matchup, and Lambton as well. Lambton was actually here facing the Ontario Tech Ridgebacks down the hall at the big gym. They're an interesting team, and Well, they really gave the Ridgebacks a run for their money at different points in time.
Definitely, most definitely. All Lords have to do here is just smooth things out here, close things out. You have a commanding lead thanks to this stellar second half performance, I should say. Just close things out, try to get some confidence going like that for Morrison.
Morrison with 15 points on the night. Like I said, she's a player that can really put in buckets in a hurry. It's not beyond her to be able to put up, a 15-point quarter, a 20-point quarter.
And give her credit too. It hasn't been her night, but she's found a way to bounce back in this second half, along with the help of her teammates in the first half. Glendinning has had a good night as well. So that's just what good players do. They find a way to bounce back and help their team out in any way they can. And tonight, Morrison's really bounced back in the second half, which has really had to be needed for the Durham Lords.
There is a timeout coming from the Loyalist Lancers. Of course, they're down big, down 20, largest lead of the game. And the game was closer than it's going to show on the final score. The 20-point lead really doesn't reflect the trials and tribulations that the Lords had to go through in the middle of this game. But to come out of it on the other end with the 20-point win that's not nothing. Nope. Sometimes these wins are not going to be pretty, and again, it's going to look like a pretty win because it's a 20-point lead, but really had to figure some things out. Your star player's not hitting shots. And you have a player like Emily Glendinning who can really float the boat for you. Well, that's not working. That's an important thing to have.
Yeah, the Lords did have that important thing in the second half of this game. So give them credit for this back half, but the first half, maybe you need a little work on after this game, and you can think that's going to be the key factor for them as well moving forward.
Ball stays with the Lancers.
Remember, another interesting thing, Sean, the Lords haven't played in 10 days, and Loyalist just came off a game the other day, Tuesday, with a win. So you can expect early on there was a little bit of rustiness in the Lords that moved on, but now as things have picked up, they found their legs, they found some movement, momentum, and they were able to close out this second half in the best way they can. That's all that matters so far tonight.
Unable to get the shot off. That's going to be a shot clock violation. Under 2 minutes remain here in the first game of the night. Do not go anywhere. After this is over, we'll have the men's teams matching up. And the Lords coming off a massive victory against Fleming College, where Sarsonis continuing on his scoring tear. And we'll talk more about that as we get into that game. Littman, she'll pop a three off the rim. No good. No good there. Shot kept in by Hamanen. That
shot clock never reset.
Yeah, shot clock didn't reset, so Lancers has to play through it. It's a little distracting for them, I'm sure. Glendinning not happy with that last shot she put up. But she's had a night here tonight. 18 points and 7 rebounds. That's some solid stuff.
Particularly good with the 3 ball. 4 3-pointers on the night. Gonna have another timeout here, it looks like.
I mean, if you got them, you might as well use them at this point, right? That's what it feels like. It's a 20-point lead. I'm not sure what there is to talk about, but less than 2 minutes left at the line. I mean, you're making sure your defense is in the right set coming out of it, I suppose.
Yep. Got to carry this momentum and carry it on for the next game and in a couple of days against Seneca.
I'd be interested to see the statistics on comebacks in the final 2 minutes of a game, and if there's ever been a 20-point comeback. Feels like I would lean towards no, but there's some pretty wild stuff. Tracy McGrady, 13 points in 30 seconds. That comes to mind, right?
Oh, for sure. But the Lords they'll be sure to clamp things down and make sure that never does come to question in a potential 20-point comeback with about a minute left.
Sherlin Chance, the first-year coach here at Durham College, taking over for LaFontaine, who left the team at the end of last season. Has the team playing well. I like to see him coming out of the timeout there. I mean, he's not just like telling his players, hey, let's like calm this down a little bit. He's getting in there, giving defensive instructions, box out instructions, like a 20-point lead, but he's not taking it lightly.
No, he's keeping their heads right into this game, and that's what you got to do as a coach. Keep your team in it, keep them composed, and that's exactly what the decisions Chance have done for the Lords tonight.
So Knapp at the line, hits both. 18-point lead. Littman over to Glendening, extra pass to Hamanen in the corner and off of glass. Not often you see that. So Aaron Casabo. And the Lancers getting some time for a few players. Knapp, Casabo. And Talo as well. Interesting free throw for him. It misses the second.
Just the way this back half has gone for the Lancers, hasn't it?
Yeah. Glendening gets tied up, and the ball stays with the Lords. 45 seconds away from going 4-0 to start the season and be one of two teams remaining undefeated in the OCAA East. Littman over to Morrison, and defense quickly rotates. Littman wide open. Glendening unable to get the pass over. She gets crowded quickly. Morrison. Glendening takes the shot, and it's a two-pointer. 68-48. Lead back up to 20. Under 20 seconds left. Like I said, you can still see the Chance out there. Move your hands. Move your hands. I mean,
Keeps your players focused, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it keeps them in the game.
Good for high-pressure situations for the future, potentially.
I'm not taking anything away from him. I love that.
No.
High-energy coaching, like especially at this level, at the college level, like that gets you going as a player to have your coach still in it at this point in the game.
That's passion at its finest. You want that from a coach, definitely.
I mean, if you're going to ask your players to keep your aggression and your motivation up 20, I mean, you've got to keep that same sort of mindset as well, right? Talk the talk, walk the walk, and the Lords have done just that, as it's a 20-point lead at the end of the day, 68-48. Like I said, the scoreline's not going to reflect how close this game was at times, but a big game from Emily Glendening with 20 points and Brianna Morrison turning it on in the second half with 14 points. Big turnaround in the second half for the Lords here, Ryan.
And the Lords really needed it. They turned the ball over quite a number of times in that first half, leading to a lot of scoring chances.